I'm good.
I
And
can
welcome
tell when you're
to
starting it now.
episode 107 of Ripping the Rack podcast. I am your host, Tim. With me today is two regulars, and then, well, Dave might be regular, but who never knows.
One irregular.
One irregular. Let's see. With me today, we got the King of the North, Mr. Calvin Locke.
I've got you figured out now. Every time you're about to start, you get really focused because you're trying to figure out how to hit the record button.
Damn it!
Yeah, your face gets really focused.
You're like, I'm like, where the hell is it?
Yeah.
Let's see. I've got the guy. He's not down south this time because I got one further south. But we got the Coast Crusader, Mr. Brian Athern. Brian, how you doing?
I am good, Tim. Glad to be here. Ready for the week to be over so I can be in Vegas next week.
Oh, that's
Vegas next week.
You go to Vegas next week.
What?
And he didn't invite me.
I didn't get an invite either.
Actually, he did. I couldn't go. And we have a special guest, and by special, I mean special, folks.
Hey.
He's our Make-A-Wish kid. He is everything you want for a special guest. We have the true barber. Not one that married into the barber name.
Shots fired. Fired.
We got Dave Barber. Dave, how you doing?
The original barber.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, I love the podcast wars we got going on here, though.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, if we can get more of them and get more stuff out there about Candlepin Bowling and start to build this back up, I'm good.
I'm for it.
I'm for it.
I've always said, well, I haven't always said, I've been saying lately, we don't really need a TV show with like 3 strings and head to head. What we need is like a reality TV show. We need something there, right? To draw some people in, get a little
just film the Week of the Worlds every day. All day.
Specifically, we need
Thursday.
We need drunk Calvin's team. Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, easy. Hopefully nobody's watching this.
Don't worry,
nobody does.
Our 4. No, we might have 5 now because we have a special guest.
I always joking and say
I get like 6 or 7 messages a week.
Are waiting on us.
Oh my god. Oh well, welcome Dave to the shit show that is Ripping the Rack podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
So we'll talk about some recent results and some upcoming tournaments, and then we're going to jump right into a bowling conversation with a guy that's been in the game pretty much since he was born, if I'm not mistaken.
Almost, yeah. I mean, I've been around since I was born, but I've really been, I'd say, the last 25 years or so, like in it. Kind of deal. I've been in a bowling alley since I was a kid, but never took it serious until like high school. So,
you take it serious now?
No. I took it serious then.
Oh.
Now I'm more of just a casual.
Okay.
I don't know. It seemed pretty serious at Worlds. It's a very serious situation, that tournament.
Well, that's always serious, though.
Oh, is that what that is? I'm there to have fun. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm having fun.
Your team is, Calvin, for sure.
Yeah, we're always.
Was your team even there half the
time?
No,
we weren't there. No, there was always 2 guys, one in the trunk, one in the bushes. We couldn't figure out which one was there each time, but it happened.
You had enough people to bowl, and that's what counts.
Hey, we still got the bye, so how shitty is everybody else if we had 2 guys out in the parking lot and still took points?
Do we really have to bring this up again?
I don't know. I'm just curious.
I mean, we obviously had the harder division. Obviously.
And you still lost to a team with 2 drunk guys who were out in the car. So I don't understand.
That is true.
I'm always having fun.
That is true. So results. The only results I have, we do have Pro Series, the Riverwalk 10 stringer this past weekend. A huge congratulations goes out to Nick Leach. I think that was that his first win, Dave?
Somebody commented, I think Paul Grant just commented, and I saw that it was his second win, but I don't remember if he won another one. I can't recall. So
okay.
Yeah, it's either one or two. I don't know which one.
I'm gonna say congratulations on one of your top two
Sure.
potential wins. I don't
You
know.
can just say congrats on the win. You don't need to say how many. You just say congrats on the win.
Well, you can.
Good bowling.
You're
Congrats on the win.
complicating things, Tim.
Nick, good bowling. Congrats on the win.
It
See,
is.
it's
He
that
bowled.
easy.
He bowled fantastic. 12:53 down at Riverwalk when there was only two bowlers out of, I don't know, how many bowlers did you have, Dave? 40, 50?
40, I think 43 was the final count. I'm not positive. Low 40s.
Okay. Low 40s, and only two guys went over 1,200. So I would say this would classify in my mind as a blowout win. 12:53. The next one was 12:05.
To hit 1250 last weekend at Riverwalk is a huge score. So he
How'd you do? How'd you do, Dave?
Nick was 1250. I think he had a 620.
No. How did you do, Dave? No. How did
me.
you do? Yeah. How did
Me.
you do, Dave?
So they paid the top 8, and
okay.
then there was me at 9.
Then there was
Yeah.
me in the non-paid.
You know, I wanted to pay out 9, but we settled on 8, and of course, I could have changed it last minute.
You could have. I mean,
Could've.
you have the power, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No one would have thought anything if you had said, "Hey, we're paying out 9."
Yeah,
And they look down the list. Who's 9? Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, no one would have said anything. But so yeah, congratulations, Nick. 12:53. John Winchell was 12:05. Brendan O'Dowd, 11:97. Austin Barnes with an 11:90.
Lloyd Christmas.
Oh my God, I just can't. I'm sorry, I cannot look at Austin and not think of Dumb and Dumber anymore. I just can't.
It was just bad.
I can't.
It was hilarious, but it's bad.
Ryan's is it Southall?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so
1185. Dan Allard 1175. Sean Baker 1172, and Cody 50. 1164, and we'll stop at that because we already know who was 9th. So
yeah, that's a good place to stop.
actually,
Yeah.
no, let's not stop there. Let's just jump all the way down to Jeff Surratt, who
Jeff Surratt, that guy's good, isn't he?
I heard he only bowled 7 strings. So he was 10 something for 7. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
If he had just bowled those other 3 strings, he would have been 13. He would have won.
Yeah, I think 3 more strings, he might have hit 1200. The way he was messaging me during that 10 stringer, I don't think he would have hit 13 in a 20 stringer.
Hey, I'm just impressed that his bowling balls didn't go down 495 or 95. So
No, they would go out into the rotary that's just out to the left of Riverwalk.
no, that's true. That is true. So Dave, real quickly, because obviously those are lower scores, and I know Riverwalk is not an easy house. What was your take on the weekend?
So it was new pins, and I talked a lot with Mark Ritchie, in the second shift. I bowled the first shift of the tournament, and I was there just to hang around, do the scores and all that. But I was talking with Mark. It's just newer pins. When you hit them, when you were throwing a good ball, they were moving. But you didn't have a big margin of error. You easily could run the middle. 8 boxes were very easy to do. And 8, 7, 6, you saw a lot of those. Just pinning was that much harder to do. I think the 1-8, 1-8, 9, you saw way more than you would ever see in a normal tournament. But it was a grind for everybody. So it wasn't unique to one person. It was certainly everybody had to bowl in the same conditions. And maybe a couple years from now, who knows? I mean, it's tough now, but that place might be moving a bit after those pins are broken in.
Well, I mean, I think we've all bowled on new pins before, and I think we all have experiences that it can be challenging on new pins.
Kingswood last year, the King of the Hill, they put their new pins in. High average, I think, was 115. I think I averaged 113, 112. It's tough. new pins are tough to work around.
Yes. The only place that I can think of, there's been two places that I can think of right off the top of my head that put brand new pins in, and scores didn't change all that much. One was at 1-7-10 when they first opened, but they were pretty juiced up. And then Pittsfield, Maine was Sessa. Sessa put brand new pins in, and we had a pro tour there, and it was 1390 that won. But it wasn't that it was juiced. It was just Sessa did the plates every day. They went. But they're most places, you're right, they're just very challenging with new pins. So takes.
Yeah.
Dave,
Even
how
when
long? A
Even
year,
when they're
2 years
challenging
to break
before.
in?
I mean,
2 years, I think.
two if you're bowling on them constantly. If you got leagues, Riverwalk, I don't think has a ton of leagues, so they're mostly open bowling. So they're probably going to take 3 or 4 anyway to break in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you guys had Lucky Strike, when that was open, you guys had a lot of leagues there for the most part, right?
We were predominantly leagues. Yeah, probably 95% of our business was leagues. We were packed most, every day of the week.
So something like that. What, about 2 years then to really break in?
Probably. You'll still get a little toughness, but probably about 2 years with a place like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we have any other results, folks? Do you know?
I don't think there was anything. The only thing this past weekend was just, I know of we have our monthly doubles, but that was it in Canada as far as I know. So lots this weekend though.
Calvin, what's going on this weekend for you guys?
This weekend in Nova Scotia at Windsor is the Connell Patterson Memorial, which is Jess Bain's tournament that she holds every year for her dad and Nick Patterson's father as well. So that is, right now, I think we're at 11 teams. We're looking for a 12th to make it an even 12 teams. $375 is the entry fee, and it starts at 9 o'clock. So if you want to bowl, we need a team. Contact Avon Valley Lanes or on our Maritime Candlepin. There's a spot there for you to sign up. So if you got something there. In Moncton, there's the 525. That's fun tournament. Usually gets, I think they said they have 15 teams. It usually gets like 18 or 20, which is crazy considering how low the cap is.
525?
525 is the cap.
For 5 people, not 4.
For 5 people.
105 apiece.
For 5 people. It's insane. I've never bowled it because I can't.
Well,
because I'm 125 average. It's basically, I have to get 400. Yeah, 400 averages and stuff like that. So, yeah, I've never done it.
Well, if they take the Pro Series 10 stringer at Riverwalk, you could put a team in.
Yeah, you probably could. It'd probably be a half decent team too. But that, yeah, like I said, I think they have 14 or 15 teams. Anyways, it's packed every year. It's crazy. Prize money's good. Like it's crazy.
That's crazy to me. 525 cap.
525 cap. And they get, like I said, they get a bunch of teams. It's always packed. It's ridiculous. And then Sunday is BJ's doubles in Woodstock. I know it's, as far as I know, it's still full. He has a wait list. So I think it was packed the first day. Everybody wanted a spot. So yeah, that's Canada land.
Wow.
That's what we got going on.
Okay.
Canada.
Down here, let's see. I do know the Candlepins for Cancer ladies roll-off begins tomorrow, or when you're getting this today, Tuesday, November 29th, 11 a.m., and Thursday, December 1st, 11 a.m., then Saturday and Sunday, December 3rd and 4th, 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the Big 20 Bowling Center in Scarborough. They are looking for more women bowlers. $80 entry fee per shift, unlimited entries allowed. Top 5 to live show on Saturday, January 14th which will be filmed and live streamed and all that on 11 a.m. at Big 20 on Saturday, January 14th. You can register at candlepinsforcancer.com. And that is courtesy of Mr. Wow himself, Paul Grant.
Mr. Wow. That's
Mr.
his name.
Wow.
That name again is Mr.
Wow. There is a Candlepin Corner Christmas Classic, the 4 C's.
Say
Oh,
that
hey,
5
puppy.
times. Hello, puppy.
Oh, puppy.
What are you doing?
She's wondering what the hell's going on over here.
Oh,
Probably.
Who are
puppy.
these voices?
So that is sponsored. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
We had a little puppy break. That is
Ah.
sponsored by Academy Lanes. That is $1,000 to the winner. Payout amounts pending number of registrations. $1,000 guaranteed to winner if full. $75 per bowler. $80 day of. 4-to-1 payout structure. That is Saturday, December 17th. Available shifts of 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. 24 bowlers per shift. 3 bowlers per lane. That is at Academy Lanes. This is a singles scratch 9-pin tournament. Something fun. For those of you that are unfamiliar with a 9-pin tournament, pretty simply put, if you drop a 9-pin drop on your first ball, that is a strike. You leave 9 pins after the second ball, that is a spare. You leave 9 pins after your third ball, that is a 10. 5 strings across 5 lanes, 5 blocks at a time. So basically, appropriate bowling attire is required. Ugly Christmas sweaters are encouraged, though.
Nice.
I couldn't bowl in a sweater.
I couldn't either. I can't. I usually do it for just practice, like warm up.
Well, Tim can in a
Tim,
sweater
you're
vest.
just so weird.
That was
You're
not a
just so
sweater vest.
Weird, man.
That was a sweater.
You're king of the
You're
vests too.
You're a weird
Not,
human.
I have no sweater vests anymore. Got rid of them.
You're
That's why you
finally.
haven't bowled 500 in a while.
You're gonna need them when you get older.
No, they make sweatshirts now.
No,
I don't wear sweat. I don't have to wear sweaters anymore. So contact Corey Alisi, Jordan Britton, or the Candlepin Corner Facebook page to register. Payments will be accepted via PayPal, Cash App, or cash. Again, that is when is that? Saturday, December 17th.
I'm enjoying this adventure we're on at Dave's. We're going up his beard. We're going into his couch. I'm enjoying it. This is
People watching
entertaining.
YouTube are throwing up on their couch for motion sickness right now.
While Tim talks, I get to watch the adventure. I'm enjoying it.
Well, Dave's watching. I'm guessing he's watching football because
No,
he
he's
probably
watching-
has fantasy going.
There's football on, but there's 2 dogs wrestling in front of me. They haven't wrestled all night long. They've been fine, and now they're wrestling and
You
barking.
can hear them.
I can hear
Yeah.
him.
Hear the
That's
growling?
awesome.
Yeah, they just
Wait, I
got
thought
on.
you guys
One
all-
got on.
I thought you only had one dog.
I've got like 1.5. 8. Sorry. The other dog follows Owen everywhere he goes. So when Owen's with me, the other dog comes with him. So occasionally I have 2 dogs.
This is hilarious.
This is
Yeah.
The
And
people,
now
the
they're
people who,
wrestling.
the people who can't see us are wondering what the hell the noise is.
People on Spotify are like, "What is going
Yeah.
on?"
Oh no, Spotify has video now.
Oh, that's true.
It's all friendly. There's no dogs gonna be hurt.
No.
Yeah. Disclaimer, everybody.
Yeah.
No dogs were harmed in the recording of this episode of Ripping the Rack podcast.
Just wrestling, not fighting.
The
Just
door
wrestling.
looked like he got hurt though.
So Dave, I don't have any other tournaments that I can think of. Brian, do you know of any that's coming up in the next couple of weeks?
No, just the once a month at 1710 next Sunday.
560
once a week.
coming up, people. 560.
560 is coming up.
like 2 months away, 3 months away.
I'm not bowling. I'll be in
Why
warm
not?
weather. I'll be in Florida that weekend.
What a
So-
waste of money.
Well, being warm, you're right.
Yeah,
So much a waste of money.
big waste of money.
Yeah.
Rather be in a bowling alley.
I will say this.
In the cold.
I don't
Yeah.
know when, but I have sent a message to Mr. Mark Carrier about doing a 560 sometime, maybe the end of April, in Augusta, a weekend long 560. Kind of 20 teams,
Neat.
19 strings, maybe do a Friday night, Saturday, Sunday type event.
Mm-hmm.
So
That sounds like fun.
more information to follow. I don't know what Mark has seen it, but he did not comment. So I will be seeing him Thursday night. If this is a go, I'd like to announce it soon, so we can actually fill this and all that fun stuff. Dave could come back to 1710. He hasn't been there in years.
We did the doubles there, I think was the last time I was up there, right? The random draw doubles.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was when I met my wife. That was 2011.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you filled the tournament
Yeah.
and you never came back.
You know, for years I would not fight people because I'm not going to do that, but why are we going to Maine? Why are we going to Maine? Why, like, because they come to us. We need to go to Maine. We need to go up there, and it was a struggle just to get one event up there. Never mind two, and after a few years, people were like, "Well, I'm just not going to go to Maine." Like, well, then they're going to stop coming to us.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we used to have, man, from the Pro Series, we used to have probably 20 solid, I would say, on a monthly basis, and any given month would have 30-ish, but we'd have 20 solid guys, and now we probably have, I don't know, I want to say maybe 5 that come regularly from Maine. I mean, it's hard. It's a
Yeah.
long trip, but that's why we tried to balance it out. But yeah, it's
No, I get it. I really do. When the majority of the Candlepin world here in the States are within a 50-mile radius of Boston. If you look at it similar, maybe a 70-mile radius of Boston.
Right.
So I get that the majority of your tournaments, your pro tours, things like that are going to be down that way. It's just very difficult for someone like me that has had to travel for 30 years to bowl to question why a person can't once a year drive 2 hours north, because that is all it is.
Yeah.
2 hours up the highway from Portsmouth, so maybe 2.5 from Boston, roughly, up to Augusta to bowl.
Yep.
It just, I don't understand it. I don't know. I've done the whole Don Quixote thing. I've chased my windmills. I'm done chasing windmills.
I can understand somebody like Richie Myrick, who I don't even know exactly where he lives, but he's way out west. He's probably close to the New York border at this, that rate. But I can understand from him, that's a big drive, but he drives everywhere too. I mean, for him, going out west is like going to Maine, right? So he's doing that once a month and coming out our way, bowling on the North Shore, South Shore, every month. So for him, yeah, I get it. It's a 3-4 hour drive probably, and there are others out there, but for the other guys, Southern New Hampshire, Northern Mass, even the South Shore, it's not too bad. It's once a year, maybe twice, because we usually try and stay Southern Maine at least once. If we're going to do it twice, one of them's going to be Southern Maine, Big 20, or what was Scarborough was.
Well, you had Big 20 and you had Vacation Land
and
was
Sanford.
That was Sanford, yeah.
Well, no, that Bolorama.
Oh, that's Sanford. What it is. You're right. Yeah.
Vacation Land and Saco used to have that. That always had your pro. When the Mass Pro Tour was around, that always had a Pro Tour stop.
Yep.
And the Pro Series always had a stop there as well years ago, and then of course they sold and turned into a car storage dealership place. I don't know.
It's hard too with the size of houses, right? Like when you get 80 to 100 bowlers at some of these tournaments, a 20-lane house can turn difficult, right? Like, because now you're talking 3 shifts, or you're talking 2 shifts with 3 on a lane. Now it's a 6-hour qualifying, then knockout. So it does make it a long day if you get smaller houses. I think that was the other, because Vacation Land was always 32 lanes.
Well, you had 12 on one side and you had 20 on the right. So they
Yeah.
always used the right side. They always used the 20 lanes on the right. I don't remember them using the 12. That's typically where they put their open bowling during any type of tournament.
Yeah.
They were synthetic too, and everything else was wood.
Yeah. But I do understand. It just, so long story short, I am trying to get a 560 in like Augusta, just because I think that'd be a great place to hold a tournament like that. Great food, plenty of room, good bar, and good scoring conditions. People would be happy.
And you have a casino an hour in either direction.
That's right. Can't forget the casinos. So
because that's what us all our bowlers like is casinos.
So there is that. Let's see. Other than that, Dave, what's the next pro series for you guys?
So we skip December. We're coming back the end of January, so we get a long break. It is the 3-man teams at Timber Lanes in Abington. January 29th is a Sunday. So we'll pick up 2 months from now, basically, back with the 3-man teams, and that's usually a pretty good turnout. I would say 70 plus is usually what we're looking at for that tournament. So hopefully we can get, closer to 80 or 90, but 70 plus is what we will probably expect.
Nice. And will you take top 12? Well, not top 12, top 36. It was 12, 12, and 12, right? Like if you looked at it from your top 12 and then your next tier and then that way, because it's random draw, right?
It's random draw. If we get enough, I believe we'll go 12s. But if not, we'll probably bump it down to 8s. So 24 instead of 36. But it all depends on the entries. Hopefully we get enough to take top 36. It's always better taking a little bit more to the knockout round, and then making a round or two in order to make money is always better than taking a little bit less to the knockout.
Because I think last year was at Exeter and it was 12. It was 36, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember that was the one I missed, and I don't remember the sheet. So
yeah,
it's been a while.
I think that might be the last time I actually bowled well. So that could have been it for me.
That could have been the peak. That could
have been it. I mean, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
It's a curse of the 3-man team. So it looks like you're going to have to come to the one in January if you want to turn it around, Tim.
I already got plans that weekend. Brian's already asked me if I wanted to go.
What weekend? Oh, did I say the 29th? I meant
he already told me. He already told me that weekend. So I've already politely declined. I was disinclined to acquiesce to his demands. Let's put it that way. I know those are big. I know those are big words.
He was using his old man excuse. My back hurts, my arm hurts, my knee hurts. I have sand in my ass.
I suck at bowling.
Disinclined to acquiesce.
I am disinclined to acquiesce to your demands. It's from Pirates of the Caribbean. It basically means no.
Yeah, we got that.
Okay. So Dave, I will say this. I did have someone that wanted to ask him about his nicknames.
Josh Daly.
What's that all about? What?
So the Candlepins for Dollar show that Bart put together back in 2006. So they gave everybody nicknames, right? Based on whatever they decided. So when I made the show, I didn't make it the traditional way. I was the tiebreaker. Me and Chucky Vizella tied with 649. Then we went to the first tiebreaker. We tied. The second string, high string, he got me on that one. But then somebody had to back out. So I get there and they're like, "Oh, wait till you hear your nickname." I go, "Let me guess. Has to do with my last name, right?" And they start laughing like, "Oh, how'd you know?" I'm like, "Well, since 3rd grade, people have been making fun of my last name." So they give me the nickname The Razor, and now they go, "Well, is it too late to change it? Because I'd love to change it. I got a couple ideas. And they heard me out, but they wouldn't change it. I wanted to be Dave Backdoor Barber because that's how I got into the ladder, is I snuck in through the back door. They didn't like that and they wouldn't change it. But then the other one I thought was reasonable. I said, how about Dave the Barber Beefcake? Right?
You could cut and strut all the way on the approach.
Yeah. I thought Beefcake would have been a great one. But again, nope, sorry. We already got it. Hey, come on. Could have been Backdoor, could have been Beefcake, but instead I got Razor. You know?
I don't know, but I might just have to start calling you Beefcake because that just has a certain ring to it.
Hey,
you know,
better than the alternative. I'll take it.
Let's see. He also would like to know who your favorite bowler growing up was, and it can't be a father.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really know many bowlers growing up because I didn't watch the Channel 5 show. I didn't watch bowling. I wasn't into bowling as a kid up until high school when I wanted to get better. I mean, I knew. Oh yeah. I locked her in the basement. Now she's whining to get out and go wrestle. So, sorry guys.
No,
It's
God,
all
this is
good,
great.
You gotta go back to bed, okay?
Oh, the kid's awake.
Give me 1 sec, guys. I'll
Take your time, Dave. Hey, buddy.
Oh goodness.
Oh, that was. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Oh no. Hey, no more goals allowed. The Leafs are winning again.
Well, it's a regular season.
Right.
Well, yeah. Hey man, that's all that matters. Just got to get to the regular season.
Just got to get through the regular season. So
Yeah.
you can lose in the first round. That's all
Hey,
good.
that's all good. I'll take it.
So I don't know what the hell has gotten into the Celtics, but they are.
They're playing. They're playing Charlotte.
But I understand that, but they have 127 points right now, and there is still 8 minutes left to go in the game.
It's Charlotte. It's the Charlotte Hornets.
I mean, I don't care
me,
if you're
and
playing
Brian
St.
could
Mary's,
score
St. Mary's
90
blind
points
and
on
deaf
them.
team. So anyway, Dave. So
yeah, sorry guys.
No. It's all good.
That's fine.
It's all
and
good.
now they're back to wrestling.
Yeah.
It's fine. So did you ever go with your dad and stuff when he bowled, or?
No, not really. I mean, I was at the lanes.
We're good, Dave, so don't worry about it.
Really don't. We're having a blast.
Come here. I don't. No, I mean, I went to the lanes all the time, and I hung out while he bowled, while he was working, whatever. But we never went down there as kids to bowl. We went down there like we were playing, football or something outside or on the stairs. Like we didn't care about bowling. But I mean, I knew some of the guys, mostly the guys from around the area, Morgan, Baker, a couple other guys like Peter Flynn, Ulster, stuff like that. I never really paid attention to much of bowling up until I started bowling with those guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't say there was anybody I really kind of looked up to or anything when I was younger. I certainly tried to copy some guys' styles when I was younger, but Carrington, that never worked out when I tried to do the Carrington.
I don't think anyone can except for him. So I guess
I find that funny that you tried to mimic other bowlers when you've probably got the most unique throw I think I've ever seen. You look fine as soon as you're about to start, and then you just Hoya, and you just.
So, I've got the backup ball, right, and like people ask me all the time, like, oh, how do you control that spin?
Yeah.
I don't control it in my head. my ball is going straight, because when I was little, I couldn't hold the ball. So when it came off, I, would always throw it like that, just normally. So that's a normal straight ball to me, but obviously it comes in. So in my head, the ball's going straight, but I know it's not.
Yeah, but okay.
So it's weird. Like other guys like Iotti, he snaps his wrist. Like I would lose all control if I tried to spin the ball or do anything like that. So
that's just a natural, because I mean, obviously, Dave, I've watched you bowl a long time. I mean, I'm older than everyone on this panel here. I'm lucky enough to have watched a lot of bowling. And the way you charge the line, because I know that's where you're a little bit like me, and that's how you get your speed on the ball. Because for a smaller guy, you throw it fairly hard. So you charge the line. But I tried once. I think Brian, I don't know if Brian remembers this. We were fucking around at league, like before league one time, and I tried to throw it the way Jeff throws it, and I tried to throw it like Godwin, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to try one with Davey, and I almost fell like 3 lanes over. Like I mean, I thought I charged the line, and Brian will tell you I do.
You were out of breath.
Oh my God, I'm still out of breath.
Yeah,
it's been like 3 years.
I don't know how you do it, Dave. Especially for a week where you usually bowl 29 to 30 strings. I don't know how you do it.
There's no other way, right? Like that's from when I was first starting to like get into it and try and get better in high school. I played baseball, so one of the things that was always just like line myself up with what I'm doing and like go into the pins, like go and slide and follow through. That was one of the big things, and it just developed into something that it's like, if I'm not charging the line and I'm not going hard, I'm usually not throwing a good ball and not getting any breaks or anything like that. So
yeah,
it's one speed.
Yeah, no. What's, just out of curiosity, what's your high single? Do you have a 200?
208.
Yep. Where'd you throw that?
At Metro during the States about 10 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't care where you are. That's still a big string.
Oh,
I mean, it's just so, people don't understand just how hard it is to throw big strings and big series.
Yeah.
Whether it's a 3-string, 5-string, 10-string. I mean, those that bowl consistently, those that bowl, pro tours and things like that, understand the difficulty behind it. But
it's a groove. Like you said, it really doesn't matter the house unless it's like a non-compliant type of house, but it doesn't matter. You're in a groove, and it's like, it doesn't matter if you're at Metro. Lucky was a tough house, any other, maybe not Riverwalk this past weekend, but most houses, you get in that groove and the balls, you're gonna get the same result. That's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Brian, yours what,
188.
180, and was that Oakland Park?
That's Bangor Brewer.
Oh, that was Bangor. Okay.
And I threw a 4-bagger in the back half, and I remember Charlie looked at me and goes, "You had anything in the front? You'd had 2," and just walked off.
That's Charlie.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a Charlie comment.
Yeah. So, Dave, what's your favorite house in Maine, and why is it Bangor Brewer?
I love the approaches. I did like the approaches.
I did really enjoy bowling there.
Yeah.
I mean, how many years did we go up there and do it? That was always one of the better places to bowl up in Maine. I don't know. Vacation Land. I always liked Vacation Land when they were open. That was a good house too. And Augusta. That was I may have only been there once for that Pro Series, but that was a good house.
Augusta's my favorite in the state of Maine. And it has been for a long time. Ever since Pittsfield burned down many, many years ago, because that was my favorite house. But I just love the one at Augusta.
Down? Was that 2000 when Pittsfield burned down?
Somewhere in that. time frame, which is too bad. Dave, did you never bowled there, did you?
No, that was
Brian, I don't think Dave would have liked it. It had the foot pedals.
Yeah, and
the way your leg swings, your back leg swings.
They're not in the back like other bowling alleys. Their foot pedals were in the middle.
They're in the what?
They were in the middle of the front. Yeah,
in the front.
Russ Neely, we would bowl a pro tour there. Russ Neely, on average, would would
at least
reset his lanes 2 to 3 times a day. So in a 10-string tournament, he would reset it 2 to 3 times, and it's valid because his foot would swing across and it would hit the pedal. I just thought of that. You'd love the pinfall, but man, the way your back foot swings out sometimes.
Yeah, I don't like the pedals.
And those sweeps were fast too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that would be Ooh, that sweep would take a beat.
Yeah.
Old Town's the same way. They still have the foot pedals.
Yeah, but aren't those foot pedals towards the back?
No, they're in the middle.
See, I did it one night. I only bowled in Old Town so Dave, Old Town is 20 minutes above Bangor. It's basically where UMaine is. And so there's a small house there, 14 lanes, 12 lanes, Brian? 12,
14, yeah. AMF pin setters, though. They're not the E-machines.
It was...
the Bullmores, they're AMFs.
Could be a fast house. It was... it could have been fast. Let's. I do have a question here from the audience. This is directed towards everyone, and this person wanted to know from a style standpoint. They bowled their first tournament, and they saw the way they worded it is they saw a lot of different styles. A lot of different approaches, a lot of different ways to throw the ball. And I don't know as if we can necessarily answer them, because what they were looking for is what's the best style to go with for someone that's just learning the game.
The one that works for you.
Yeah. I know, like, I don't think you could go into a bowling alley and see the exact same style. I don't think whatever works, however you want to throw the ball, like, nobody goes and throws like Tim and goes across his body and goes over. Nobody in the world or in hell would want to bowl like Dave Barber, but he does it and he snaps it. And Brian Athern, 1, 2, 3, and just, power throw. It's just, you're never going to find the same style anywhere. So however you're comfortable, however you find the ball gets to where you want it to be, that's how you should throw it. I've changed my style 3 times, I think, now in my career. So whatever you feel comfortable with, that's what you do.
Yeah. I would say, though, if you really think about it, though, it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you're doing really 2 things. And that's at the time of delivery, your shoulders are square, meaning they're square. Because if you're like this, you're going to have a really tough time, vice versa. If you're facing away from the whatever, you got to have your shoulders square, whether or not you're angled and way down or whatever. And then you've got to reach out towards the pins. I think, Dave, you mentioned that is your baseball. You're, really reaching out for it. You're charging line, but you're reaching out for it. And I think that's probably the advice I would give someone is.
I would also say repetition. You do the same thing every time. Start in the same spot on a full rack every time. Like, try and throw the ball the same speed every time.
Yeah, I keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you start out, keep it simple, and then as you get more and more control, then you can maybe start doing, maybe add an extra step or whatever it may be. But keep it simple at first. You gotta figure out how to get control, and then figure out what's comfortable for you. That's
So I've asked these guys, Dave, because we've had some other guests, and it's usually a pretty common question. And I'll ask you the same thing, and you may have just answered it, but what is the best advice that you've been given or that you could give someone with Candlepin Bowling?
The first thing that comes to mind, and it comes back to this weekend, is I had a night bowling, and the same thing, like 27, 28 times on the head pin, I said to my father, I go, I hit the head pin all night. He goes, well, what were you aiming for? I go, what are you talking about? So I was aiming for the head pin. He goes, well, why are you doing that? Like, am I not supposed to? I said, no, aim for the pocket. I go, well, okay. And since then, it's like, yeah, you're kind of right. You don't, if what I was aiming for was the head pin, that's what I was hitting. So from then on, it was like, well, aim for what you want to hit, right? And then because when you hit it, everything works out. You're not gonna obviously every ball you throw isn't gonna be there, or even most of them aren't gonna be where you actually threw it. But aim for exactly where you want to throw the ball, and that was what I took away from that. And since then, I was like, okay, that's one of my favorite things that he's ever told me is, why are you aiming for the head pin? Don't do that. Like, you're right.
True enough.
Pocket.
Sometimes it works though, because I've had tournaments where there was one guy who was famous for it, and crap, I can't think. It might have been Bob Doothright. Anyways, he would go up to his team at the start of the week, say, all right, everybody throw $10 in the pot. First person to punch the 1-5 wins it all. Every time you do something, I can't remember if it was like under 7 or something like that, you add a quarter to the pot. At the end of the week, the pot was like $350, and nobody had punched the 1-5. And these guys were like maybe 2 or 3 losses all week because everybody was trying so hard to punch the 1-5 that all they were doing was being in the 1-2 pocket, 1-3 pocket, 1-2 pocket, 1-3 pocket. And it was just every time like 8 or 9 break, because they're so gung-ho and trying to punch the 1-5, and it's so hard to punch the 1-5 when you're trying to do it. So it was just, they were always in the pocket every ball because they couldn't hit the 1-5 exactly.
I heard something similar. Somebody told me once, yeah, just try and punch the head pin every time because you're not good enough to hit it in the middle every time.
Right.
Unless you're Dave yesterday in
the
Riverwalk, and then you were good enough to hit the middle every time.
But he wasn't, because he was aiming for the pockets. So he obviously wasn't good enough.
I was probably aiming for the head pin. I probably should have called my father, man. What the hell am I doing wrong? Yeah. No, I've always, I don't know. I look at that and I'm like, if I try to do something a certain way, that usually messes me up. Like if I try the 1-5, I feel like I'm going to start eagle, or like 1-5-8, 1-5-9. Like I feel like I'll do that more, than I will hit the pocket.
We'll try it one time. We'll try it one time. You
it's
and I,
all
when we're bowling. We're bowling.
And honestly, that's what I tell people, that the majority of bowling is up between the ears. Yeah. It really is.
Oh yeah. 100%. I go up there and I'm singing to myself, because if I start thinking, okay, this is what I have to do, I'm like, okay, now I'm not doing it. So when I go up there, I'm always singing whatever song's going, I'm singing that in my head. There's nothing else going on in my head except sing, 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 sing.
I do that quite a bit too. I get a song stuck in my head, and it just stays on repeat as I'm going, because it does help forget about everything else. Like, you know what you're doing. You've done it a million times. Just do it again.
Yeah.
So, Dave, let me ask you a question with the, we'll call it the Worlds, the ICC, whatever your iteration that you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, on paper, when you look at the teams over the last, call it 10 years, Lucky Strike is always at the top, A+. Trying to think of a couple right off the top of my head. Maria's. And we'll throw a Kingswood for only up in Canada, though.
Yeah.
Only in Canada.
Well, I mean, I was Moncton, but we were top of our division this year. So
well, I believe that's called Canada.
No.
You didn't win this year.
Well, I understand that, but I'm
then that doesn't. Then let's not talk about you,
were the top
Calvin. This isn't about you.
No,
Calvin, you're every other year's
championship.
I have a question for Dave.
I think we have the most since it turned to this international Candlepin championship. So
that's great. Congratulations. Good job living in the past.
Thanks. Excuse me, Mr. 2001 goes off the 4 pin every time. We get it.
That was a 4-7. Get it right. It was hit a
I said
pocket. I hit a
4-pin.
pocket. Damn it.
It was 4-pin.
Thank fucking God that wasn't a gutter ball. Anyway, so Dave, obviously when you look at a lineup, and everybody has a different way of setting their lineup. You've bowled anchor a lot, and you've been successful bowling anchor. What's your mindset at that level? How do you kind of gear up to bowl that anchor position?
To me, it really doesn't change. The first 8 boxes are all the same, no matter what you go into. There is a little different feeling when you're in the 5-hole going up for the last 2. It's certainly like you feel more pressure and you feel it. But to me, it's like you got to get a mark. You got to get one anyway. And realistically, you got to get 2 on the end, no matter what spot you're in. And when you're not doing that, it doesn't matter if you're 5th or 1st or 2nd. It doesn't matter. So I always just kind of like last 2 boxes, got to get at least 1. And then from there, it's like you throw a good ball, get a good leave, make the shot. It's just easy to do it the next one. So it's that first ball getting up there, I think, is the key.
Okay, and that kind of leads into a topic that I was thinking about, and that would discuss with the 4 of us is why do you think some people need to be in a certain spot? Because I know of a few that I, could remain nameless on the podcast, but they know who they are, that need to be in that 5-hole because that's where they think they deserve to be, or that's where they think they should be on a team.
Goodness, I thought you were talking about me.
No, not you. No, not you.
Oh,
no.
phew.
Somebody who kind of looks like you a little bit.
Oh, that was hurtful to me.
It was. You're right. It was. I apologize. You're not that ugly. You're right.
That I don't know. To me,
because I don't understand it. I see people who are in certain spots, and I'm like, why are you not somewhere else? Like, I've seen you bowl somewhere else, and you bowl incredible. But why do you think you have to be down in this spot? Like,
I never understood that whole mentality that you have to be there, that this is my spot. Like, I've earned this spot. Everybody's earned that spot at one time or another. All the tournaments we've all bowled in, there's a bunch of guys that you could easily point to and say, yeah, they should be in that 5-hole. But if you go in with that mindset, all you're doing is hurting yourself and the team, because it's a stroke of the ego, right? Like, you got to put me there because I've earned it. Well, you can earn it in the 1-hole by doing the exact same thing, throwing the exact same scores, and helping your team out by leading off. And that's
getting probably a good lead.
Exactly. That's almost more important than the 5-hole, because there have been guys who haven't been the most talented bowlers. I don't know, Tim, you'll probably remember Wayne Denon.
Oh God, yeah.
He was a really, really good bowler, but he was on some teams where he probably wasn't the best bowler, but he was your anchor.
Yeah.
There was no doubt about it. He was your anchor, because he could be 75 for 8 and it didn't matter. You could leave the 7-10 both times on the plate in the 9th and 10th. He was making them both. He was just that good of an anchor bowler, but he wasn't a guy that had to be there. He was just incredibly good when he was there. And that's what you need. The whole, I have to be there because I'm that good, that doesn't work. That brings down the rest of the team.
So I used to joke, and there were certain people that would take it serious when I would joke, be like, I will bowl anywhere in the lineup as long as it's 5th. Brian knows that I'm joking when I say that, and I've said it for a long time. It's a joke. I don't care where I bowl. I like to bowl 5th. I'm not going to lie. I just as
long as you're not keeping score, you are the worst goddamn scorekeeper in the world.
I suck at score. I can cheer like no one else's business. If I'm on the bench, like, I will be right there and I will be cheering and whatever. But God, don't let me keep score. I am bad. I am Not a good scorekeeper.
You will hear, what'd you have? At least 3 times a half.
I get talking, I get, whatever, my ADD kicks in. But Dave, I think you're right though, is I do know some people that have to bowl fifth because they believe they've earned it. I subscribe to the Charlie Milan theory, is that you don't necessarily put your best bowler fifth.
You put your most clutch bowler fifth.
You put your most clutch bowler fifth because that's where you need them.
Because the other four should take care of it, and the anchor shouldn't have to do anything. So,
well, he was of the mindset a lot of times he would put what he would consider his best lineup. Arguably, the best bowler was bowling first, and then he liked the fourth spot to have an explosive bowler. Someone that could go out and throw a double strike, that could go out and do things like that. That would set your your fifth bowler up.
That makes a lot of sense.
Everybody's got a different way of doing it. It's funny. The only position of those top 5 that I struggled in, and for some reason, it's all in my head. It's that 2 position. Something about that second position, I just never.
Not important.
Not a fan of the 2 hole, Tim?
Well, it depends.
Nobody likes the 2 hole.
Well,
Tim's not
I'm just
fan
saying.
of the number 2.
I'm just saying and honestly, that's just in my head. I know it. Your second bowler is just as important as everyone else.
Oh yeah.
Up there with random Patriots facts and the Muppets that go mana. No. That's all that's in your head.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So do we talk about the elephant in the room, Dave, and the hashtag ABL?
There's an elephant in the room?
Guys, I'm right here. She said.
No, Dave, I've told you this. I mean, I've said it off air, and I've said it. There are certain teams that when I look at every week that for the Worlds, that if I'm in that division, that's the team I want to bowl against. That's the team I want to beat. That's the team to beat. And it's rough because you guys have been that team now for 8, 9, 10 years. How do you guys handle that every single match, knowing that it doesn't matter the caliber of bowlers that you're bowling, they're going to give you their best?
We sort of, it's been so long. I mean, we get that all the time. You get everybody's best all the time. And it's just, it kind of goes back a little bit to that 5 hole, right? Like that conversation about having to be there. I feel like our team is a good group of guys who we don't have egos. We've all done a lot of things in this game, and we're all capable.
Except for Surratt, he's a prima donna. Except
for him lately,
yeah.
He's but it's just a mindset that I feel like you have to have. Of it doesn't matter to me what you guys put on the lane next to us. We have to beat you. We have to bowl good because we know the other team is going to bowl good. It's just a mindset that's like, I see some of the other teams that have it, and it's that don't have that kind of mindset. That just, you almost know going in that you're going to beat them because they look at you and they're like, well, let's see if we can get 2. No, that's the mindset that gets you 2 points and more likely gets you 0. We've been going into every match for so long now that doesn't matter what the other team has. We have to still bowl and beat them.
Yeah.
And, it goes back to, there was a Friday Pro League playoffs like years and years ago. And one of the teams sat one of their bowlers who wasn't great and brought in Dave Richards and like, oh, he's in now. And everybody was up in arms like, oh, what the hell? And I go, it doesn't matter. Put 5 bowlers on the lane and let's bowl them. And we bowled them and we beat them. It's like, that's the fucking mindset. Like, just go out there and bowl and win. And if you if you're going there not expecting to win, you're not going to win. You know,
you got to trust your teammates.
Yeah,
you have to. In a tournament like that, you have to trust your teammates, because you can't bowl. Well, you can't. Most people can't bowl every string. They have to sit out. You have to take a break. It's a long week. All of that sort of stuff. So you've got to be able to trust the 5 guys up on the lanes. And if you've got 7 guys or 8 guys, or if you're like Prices and you've got 432 guys, then you know what? 425 guys better be behind you, cheering you on.
That's a big part of it. Is, you know, it doesn't matter really what 5 guys you have on the lane. To me, it's also a big positivity, right? You have to stay positive on your guys. If I see teams that guys up there, he misses a 9 drop. All right, it's fine. You're gonna miss another one. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna miss one. This guy's gonna. So what? The teams that get down on that bowler, and it's like all you're doing is making it worse. It's got to be harder the next time he gets an easy shot to make it. If you just go up there and like hit the button, reset it, forget it, come right back, then you can see your guys getting into this better mentality and into a groove and bowling better, instead of dwelling on a 9 drop that you missed box 6 on Tuesday, right? Like the week is too long to be upset, you know, at your teammates. And that's the other thing too, is who am I to get upset at somebody for missing a shot? Because when I get up there, I'm hoping they don't get mad at me when I miss one, because
you better not miss one.
Because we all do. And that's what that's what I try to tell. We're all going to miss shots. It's how do you put it behind you? How do you move on to the next box?
We're all going to miss a 9 with a plank occasionally.
God, no. I hope not. But we are.
No.
Tim, I've seen you miss a 9 with a plank.
Really? Because I don't ever remember missing one.
You got a short memory. That's a good thing, Tim.
There we go. No, it's I don't know. We should probably wrap this up because we've been over an hour here, and Dave looks like he's going to fall asleep. So,
well, he's going to go referee the dog fight, and then,
and he's definitely got to watch. Speaking of watching, let's throw that on some Monday Night Football here.
No, you don't want to. It's the Steelers against the Colts. Nobody wants to watch that.
Well, I mean, it's
Chris Merrill. Well, he's a Colts fan.
That's true.
So, Dave, one quick question while Tim's changing the channel. Because I had this conversation with somebody who wants to switch teams but doesn't want to leave the team for personal reasons or whatever. So I'm curious, what would you think of changing the worlds to a keeper worlds? So you can only keep 5 guys. So you keep your 5 guys. The other guys are put into, say, like a draft pile, and teams you have to have your announcement by New Year's. So January 1st is the cutoff. You have to announce your 5 keepers.
Free agent season.
It's free agent season, exactly. So you could go pick up.
Get hot stove bowling.
Right? Wouldn't it be? I think it'd be fun if you announce these are our 5 keepers. Everybody else is available. You can go out and pick and choose, and then teams can see, okay, these guys drop these guys. Oh, good.
Wire.
I didn't want to bowl with these guys, but I want to bowl with this 5. So let's see if they'll want to pick me up. So you go, I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
What do you want to have a little signing day special too?
Yes. Oh my God, I think that'd be the greatest thing. February 1st, have all the captains in a big fucking draft pool. And you just sit here on a Skype call and we do it. We're just like, I want to pick, I draft.
Let me piggyback on this for a quick sec, because Dave, this then begs the conversation. At what point do we go from 24 teams down to 20? And bring in potentially more houses that we can hold this type of tournament?
That's been kicked around for a lot of years. Definitely not the bad idea that Calvin just came up with, but the going down to 20.
It's not a bad idea. It sounds like so much fun.
For a different tournament, I think it sounds awesome. I think it's a great idea for a different tournament that you can run. Just not for this one. But yeah, going down to 20, I don't hate it.
I don't think
but
you can.
Why?
I'd rather keep it at 24 as long as we can with the centers and the participation that we have from the teams. Um, I don't have a good reason why. I like it that way. It's how it's always been. 12 and 12. The divisions are set up. The week set up. Everything's good.
But that's not how it's always been.
Well, it's always been that way since I've been in it.
Yeah, the original first 3-4 years. I mean, the first year they only had 8 to 10 teams total, and then the next year was like 16. They didn't get up to 24 until 1991-ish, 1990, something like that. So it had already been going for 3 or 4 years. And then it hit 24, and it would fluctuate. There was only 23. So there was a couple of years where you had a dummy team, or there were several years where Charlie or who was running it for Canada back then, not Kansas. It would have been Doug Blackler.
Yeah, I think Dougie was, yeah.
Where Dougie put in a team, would put in a team at the last minute, or Charlie would put in a team for the last minute to make sure you had 24 teams. I don't know. I was talking this year about that with potential. Sorry, thought we had a run back going. I was just curious what your thoughts, if you saw the tournament to be successful for a long period of time, meaning another 10, 15, 20 years, if not more, if you would see this have to come down to 16 teams or 20 teams or something like that.
I think so. I think we'll eventually have to adapt to the availability of houses, for one, and to it's hard to say like the teams, because we seem to, well, we're growing on the American side for sure. There seems to be an abundance of bowlers that want to bowl in this tournament, to keep it at 24 teams. When that starts going down, then it's probably the time to go down to 20, expand it to a lot of different houses. There's probably 8 or 10 other houses right off the bat that become eligible to host this thing.
Yeah. What about limiting the roster to like 8 instead of 10?
That's another thing that's been kicked around too. I don't know. I've kind of gone back and forth on that with like, yeah, it's a good idea, but also it doesn't matter as long as we're filling it. The teams, people bring up, oh, it'll make it more competitive. Yeah, probably could, but how much more? What are we talking? A few teams here and there get mixed up a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to bring that much more competition to the tournament.
But my draft idea would.
Absolutely terrible idea.
I bet it. I mean, would.
Again, for a different tournament, sure. Like Dave said.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that 560 that you're talking about, you draft some into that.
We're gonna end it because I'm tired and I still gotta get to show up on all the fun stuff. So, Dave, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Appreciate the time. Would love to have you on again at some point, because I don't think we really touched on half the things we really wanted to, or at least that I wanted to. And well, damn it, I talked the most. So,
no, I'd be happy to do it again anytime. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Cool. Folks, as usual, please get us your questions, your comments, your concerns over to rippingtherackpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter at Ripping the Rack Podcast. Brian has warmed up his dulcet tones. Brian,
he hasn't spoken much tonight.
Please
you
take
can
us
find
out
us
with where else
Anchor,
you can find us.
Anchor, Breaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever else you listen to your podcast mediums.
The dulcet tones of Brian Athern, folks. Oh, Brian, you got to give your
Disclaimer.
Your express
Oh,
disclaimer.
my disclaimer.
Yeah.
The views and expressions of Ripping the Rack podcast are those solely of Tim, Brian, Calvin, and this week Dave. If you don't like those, then don't listen. It's up to you. We don't care. Thank you.
Well, I mean, we do care if you listen, so we
No,
just
we
don't
don't.
care if you get mad.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Some
Thank
people
you,
don't
Dave,
listen
again.
to our
Don't
podcast.
listen.
So
no, Dave, thank you again. We appreciate it. Calvin and Brian, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Hi, Allie.
Hi, Allie.
Hey,
the
welcome
show
to
was
welcome to the
the
show, Allie.
was good.
Welcome
thanks
to
for having
the
me, guys.
original podcast.
Yeah, this is the original podcast.
The good
Ooh,
one.
shots
That's
fired.
okay. Yeah.
Hey, we just want to have fun. Again,
Yeah.
I would love to see more podcasts, more stuff, anything that promotes the game in a positive way. Maybe you sometimes want to fire some shots. That's okay. We can fire them right back.
That's the fun times.
So if if Danny Finn and those guys want to fire some shots, let's have it. We'll have a good old just like Anchorman 2 throwdown of newscasts, fights, and my God,
the
Brooks, you
Rack
bought a
team
pitchfork?
assembled.
Anyway, thank you again. Guys, have a great night. Have a good week. We appreciate it.